Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Sports Talk with me, Ricardo. What's going on, man? I hope you're having a blessed day. It's Sunday. It's great time. I'm winning this morning to my son Israel game. They did amazing. I'm super excited. They beat a team who that was the champion last year. We came out strong, so I love it. Then came home, to watch the Jets game. It was Yes, we lost 34-32. I know we went for two twice that we didn't get it. How do we if we didn't do that, probably a tie ball game. We had an opportunity to win the game, but as a Jets fan, I was we lost, but I'm super excited still because for the first time I saw an offense led by Justin Fields who doesn't have a premier wide receiver. Besides, Gary Wilson, but I'm just saying. And still was moving the ball. The offense looked amazing. And I was saying, Brees Hall, this is a contract year for him. There's a few things where he went on, he had a few 12, 16 yarders. He had a few of them. So I was super excited to see what he did. On offense, we look amazing. We look amazing on offense. Yes, there's a few, we kicked some field goal, but hey, we put points on the board where it matters, right? What I like to, defense. The Jets lost the game today because defense was trash. Well, let me not say the defense was trash. The front seven did it exactly what they needed to do. Our front seven step up. Will McDonald, it was amazing. Will McDonald was amazing. He came out lightning, firing in all cylinder. He did everything he needed to do. So I'm super excited about that. Quentin Williams did what he needed to do. So I'm excited about that. Seeing them playing together. I can't wait for Jermaine Johnson, who was out last year, to actually put it together to be ready to play. But overall, the front seven of the Jets defense looked great. Corners, we were lost. There's a lot of drops, a lot of interceptions the Jets could have had, but in coverage, we couldn't cover for anything. I think that it's the first game of the season. There's gonna be jitters, so I'm okay with that with all those jitters, right? But I feel like things are gonna be a lot better. But for the first time, as a Jets fan, I haven't seen anything like that. Seeing my team on offense, where that we get the ball, the team gonna score. Justin Fields, I did the last video where I gave him 3,000 yards, the amount of touchdown or whatever, but he actually stepped up big time today. You know what I mean? Running the ball, and, you know what I mean, and throwing the ball. He did everything he needed to do. I think that, of course, the offensive line without AVT, Joe Tippmann, and then they give him some time. Yeah, the protection could be a lot better, but he did what he needed to do. Brees Hall ran the ball well. And I'm going to talk about Brees Hall in terms of the contract. This is a contract year for him. But looking at the team overall, even though, yes, Aaron Rodgers had a field day, four touchdowns. He got sacked many times, but he took apart our corners, our DBs. They couldn't cover. They couldn't cover. They couldn't cover a blind man. So it's like that was only the only thing. But now when you look at it, right, 32 passing yard. Aaron Rodgers was 22 out of 30 for 244 yards, 4 touchdowns. Those are pedestrian numbers for a guy who's supposed to be the Hall of Fame or MVP caliber, right? So he did what he needed to do. But what I'm excited about our front seven, the running games for the Steelers. Jay Warren had 11 carries, 37 yards, 3.4 yards per carry, no touchdown. Gainswell, 7 carries for 19 yards, 2.7. And Aaron Rodgers ran for negative yard. Then you have K. Johnson also ran for a -2 yards. But the rushing part, the front seven kept them together. They weren't getting anywhere, so they did everything they needed to do. So I love that. Now DK Metcalf, who saw Gardner was guarding, he had 4 for 83 for 28 yards a reception. One of them was a fluke. The ball bounced from like 4 different players and landed back on him. So all right, but I look at Austin the third, 4 for 70 with a touchdown. I can't even say this guy's name. Whatever. Freiermuth. Whatever. He had 3 for 28. Warren had 2 for 22. I can't even say this guy name. SKOW. Whatever. He had a big one for 22 yards. Jay Smith, Gainsborough, all those guys. Defense didn't do too much on Justin Fields. Now, you look at Justin Fields, he out of 22 attempts, 16 out of 22 for 218 yards, 1 touchdown. No picks, but he had the team moving. The offense was moving. Breece Hall with 19 carry for 107 yards, 5.6 yards a carry, which is good. If for him to continue, he has to continue this to and I say, hey, he will get 1,000 yards. I think that if he give you this every week, he's gonna get more than 1,000 yards. He's gonna crack at least 1,300 yards. But this had to be consistent. That's one thing last year with Breece Hall, he was not consistent. But what I'm saying is, this, as a Jets fan, yes, we lost today. I would have loved for us to be on win column. It's good that Miami lost, the Patriots lost, and we lost, whatever. So that we still there with the exception of the Bills. But I'm hopeful, even if the Bills win, we go on next week to the Bills come in New York to play the Jets. Well, they are a New York team, but I'm just saying they go to MetLife to play the Jets. So it would be great to finish, to win that game, be 1-1. You gotta, but the energy at the stadium was amazing. The fans at first, the fans didn't know what to do. Right? We got the ball back. We didn't punt the ball until we punt the ball one time until all the way to the fourth quarter. But the fans were watching. They didn't know what to expect. But what they saw is Justin Fields at quarterback, guiding the Jets offense, pushing, moving forward, something we haven't seen before as a Jets fan. Yes, again, we lost the game today. But they were relentless on offense. The front seven, the Jets defense on front seven was relentless. A lot of penalty, a lot of bonehead plays, or whatever. They were too chippy, whatever. You know what I mean? But Quentin Williams did what he needed to do as a nose tackle, whatever. He came in, he did what he needed to do. Right? You saw Will McDonald's coming out there terrorizing Aaron Rodgers. 2 sacks. He was all over the place. Now, can you imagine a fully healthy Jermaine Johnson would be a difference maker for the Jets? So now looking at it, Breece Hall will give you 19 carry for 107. Justin Fields had 12 for 48 and 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns, right? Davis had 2 for 18. Willen Allen had a physical. He was 6 for 9, but still with a touchdown. But it was the physical touch. That touchdown was physical. So as a fan, I was very excited about it. Garrett Wilson was 7 for 95, 1 touchdown, 13. He dropped a couple. At the end, with the last play with Ramsey, you're about to get hit. You know what I mean? I understand we had a timeout. You're about to get hit. This is for the game. 4th and 3. You about to get hit. You hold on to that ball. I think that protection should have been better for Justin Fields. But hey, we did what we needed to do. They got this. I'm proud of the guys, right? Brees Hall had 2 for 38. Johnson had 2 for 31. Mason Taylor had 1 for 20. He had a 20-yarder. So I'm excited. I'm happy with as a rookie tight end to come in. He was open for a 20-yarder, and also he was very heavily involved in the blocking games. So I love that. Love that. Reynolds was 2 for 18. Jeremy Ruckert, who was forgotten here, forgotten player. He did. He was 2 for 16. So overall, I was happy to see Quincy Williams, Quentin Williams, both of them had a sack in the game. But but the player I'm super excited with was Will McDonald to be able to do that. Now I'm very disappointed with Gibson. Xavier Gibson, you fumbled our ball, man. How we not fumbled our ball? With Justin for like quarterback. I wouldn't say this before as a Jets fan. I wouldn't say this. I don't think I would have ever said, with us getting the ball back, I know we're gonna score. See, when we had Aaron Rodgers last year, him at quarterback, he said no matter what, you're gonna put us in a position to at least score, right? But then and seeing it throughout the season, he's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. But I'm just saying, this time around, this time around, there's a lot of excitement, right? There's a lot of excitement. So not one time when Justin Fields had the ball in his hand, you didn't think that we were going to score. Either running the ball or throwing it. But the decision making, the tight windows, the throws he was making, they were amazing. So as a fan, I'm excited. I look at these numbers, right? Total yards. The Jets put up 394 yards. Yeah, there was couple stuff. Almost 400 something yards. They put out there. To the Steelers, 271. Passing yards, 212 for the Jets, 218 for the Steelers. Again, this is Aaron Rodgers you playing. You kept him like that with that number. It's good. Rushing, the Jets had 182 yards rushing. Steelers only had 53 yards. And that was by committee. They kept it with 53 yards. Right? Yard per play, we were 6.4 yards per play while they were 5 yards per play. First down, the Jets had 23 first down, and Steelers only had 19. Third down efficiencies, right? Looking at in terms of third down efficiencies, the Steelers were 4 for 10, and the Jets was 7 out of 14. Now, you saying 7 out of 14? Yes, this is a net positive for the Jets, but then looking at those numbers, we could have had more. We could have had more. There was a couple of drops that I think that Aaron Glenn, this was his first game, and I was watching to see how he is as a coach. Yes, you see him as a player. I'm a Jets fan, so I see him as a player when he used to play for the Jets. I see him as a defensive coordinator with the Lions, But then coming in and watching him as a head coach, he's a floor general. I've never seen this for the Jets. When we had Robert Saleh, he was a doofus on the sideline. He looked lost. He didn't know what he was doing. He was just so happy to be a head coach. He didn't know what he was doing. Incompetent. But so far, we look great. Right? 4th down efficiencies, we were 1 for 2. And it could have been 2 for 2. Had Garrett Wilson, again, you're a receiver. You know that Ramsey's coming and you caught the ball. You caught the ball. This is the time to secure it. Man, I was very disappointed. You know he's about to deliver the hit on you. And it's ridiculous. But hey, at the end of the day, we could have been 2 for 2, but we 1 for 2. Total plays, we did 62 plays while they did 54. Sack allowed. The Jets only allowed 1 sack. The Steelers had 4, allowed 4. We had 4 sacks on them. Punts, they punt 4 times. They punted 4 times. We punt twice, and that was we punted. That was the end of the games. Penalty though, this is 4 for 39. We were 7 for 79. Fumble loss. Gibson. This is why Now I see why you're not on the field. You know what I mean? You had an opportunity to be, Aaron Smith as a rookie and draft, rookie player, getting more time than you. Now I see why, man. You trash. Time of possession. They still had the ball 25 minutes, the Jets had it for almost 35 minutes, 34, 35 minutes. So, as a fan, I'm excited. As a fan, I'm excited to see what we did. I'm excited with with the overall game plan on offense, to see the offensive coordinator was out there. He was going on attack mode. You know what I mean? So that's what you like to see from someone like that. But him going on an attack mode, I haven't seen this as as a Jets fan. We haven't had this on in a long time. Seriously, we haven't had this in a long time. Like for players, whatever. As a coach, player, whatever. I haven't seen this in a long time. So I was super excited to see seeing the Jets delivering on offense, seeing them attacking. Moving the chain. It was great. Before we were all over the place, even with Aaron Rodgers. So I don't know. Now, and I said this, right? I said this is Breece Hall. This is Breece Hall. This is his contract year. You know what I mean? Like, what is he gonna do? You know what I mean? What is he gonna do? How's he gonna step up? What's the game plan? What's the stuff? Now, looking at the Jets, you know what I mean? Last season, right? Rush offense. Rush attempt in game, whatever. We were 21.4. Today, 37. Yards per game, we were 91.8, whatever. Today we were 182 rushing, right? Touchdown, we did 8 last year total. 8 rushing touchdown total, and we got 3 today. Bullen Allen got 1. Breece Hall could have, but Bullen Allen got a touchdown. Justin Fields got 2. Yard per rush, we were 4.3 last year. We were 4.9 this year. So those are big numbers, right? But in terms of discipline, man, that's the thing we got to work on. Last year, penalties per game, 8.1. That was most in the NFL, right? Penalty yards, we were 66.7, most in the NFL. Drops, 39, most in the NFL. Missed tackles percentage, 29.2. That's the highest in the NFL. Today, we had total 5 penalties. Those things, what I do like with Aaron Glenn is the fact that, you see where his team is. He said, "Hey, we're gonna do a lot to change the team. Don't worry about it. We're gonna do the necessary stuff to make sure we win games." So I'm super excited with that. I see the adjustment coming in from the halftime. Like I said, from last year, we were this is a total is a big difference. Last year with the Jets, when the Jets had going at halftime, you coming back, they didn't talk about anything. You know what I mean? Rob Basada didn't know what he was talking about. They came out with the same plays, the same thing, but today you saw, Aaron Glenn was a floor general. He was a CEO of the team. Yeah, people say yes, he's just a defensive mind coach. But you see, to be a head coach, you gotta be a CEO. You gotta know offense, defense, special team, the overall team. And I'm seeing him out there, but I need him as a former cornerback. He gotta come back with a quarterback coach to be better, because we look trash today in terms of corner. So, but what I was saying is, for Breece Hall, this is a contract year for him. You had 170 yards. There were a couple of losses, whatever, where you could have had more. He lost yardage, but now when you look at it, right? Top running back in 2015, Saquon Barkley, number 1 with the Eagles, right? Then you have Derrick Henry with Baltimore Ravens, Jahmyr Gibbs, Detroit Lions, B.J. Robinson, Atlanta Falcons, Christian McCaffrey, San Francisco, Bucky Irvin, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Josh Jacobs, Las Vegas Raiders. You have Josh Jacobs, you have Jonathan Taylor, Devon, whatever, James Cook. All those guys are big physical guys. right? I need Breece Hall to be in that conversation. And you know, he is not in that conversation. So for Breece Hall to be in that conversation, he has to continue to do what he did today even better. I saw a few plays where he took the top of, because he's the type of guy that can take the top of the defense. But there's a few plays he came in. A few plays were negative yardage, but other plays he was hitting. He was going to second base. He was 16 yards, 20 whatever. So he was bringing it out. So I do like what he was doing. You know what I mean? He had to be consistent. So this is a contract year. I don't see the Jets giving him an extension, right? I don't see them giving him an extension or whatever. But if you give him a deal, for me, the Jets will have the length of the contract, probably a 3 to 4 year deal, similar to McCaffrey. See, when McCaffrey signed his deal, McCaffrey was a premier back, right? McCaffrey was a premier back, so he signed a contract when he was high enough. But Breece Hall, I haven't seen that from a rookie season. As a rookie, he was all over, but then he got he got hurt. But then you saw what happened last year. He was at 47. I still want a 4.4, right? At 47, I could get 3-4 yards to carry. You know what I mean? And Breece Hall was not doing that. So and that's something that I'm not too happy with. You know what I mean? So that's the thing that I'm So I think that you give him, Breece Hall got to show today. He came out, he did what he needed to do. So I think the Jets will give him a 3 to 4 year deal. Maybe total value between 24 to $32 million, right? I would say similar to Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones, because if you're comparing that, right? Guaranteed $15 to $18 million, maybe annual value 8. So that's between $8 to $10 million deal. You know what I mean? Now, here's the influence. Here's what he could say, right? Performance. Breece Hall, racked up over 2,800 yards, 2,800 scrimmage yards, and 11 touchdowns in 2 seasons, despite the injuries. So for him to give you 2,800 yards, scrimmage yards, and 11 touchdowns in 2 seasons, despite the injuries. Yeah, durability is a concern. You look at in 2002, he tears ACL, but he had, of course, there's a lot of regression. You know what I mean? But with the new GM there, new head coach Darren Muji, and Aaron Glenn, who didn't draft Breece Hall, I think that they might be prefer to allocate the cap space elsewhere. But for Breece Hall, I don't see it. You know what I mean? I don't see it. But I think that for the Jets, they gotta look at if he's continue like that. You know what I mean? What you gonna do? But now, in terms of the cap impact, right? The lower cap hit, the Jets could reduce his 2026 cap hit by converting part of his salary into a signing bonus, which you could spread it around. All right, so you estimate cap hit if Hall signed a 3-year deal. Let's say you sign him for a 3-year deal, $27 million deal with a $15 million guarantee. His 2026 cap hit could be as low as $5 to $6 million, depending on the structure. You got to structure it well to make sure to say, hey, we're gonna sign you for this deal. We're gonna pay you this signing bonus, but we're gonna push some of that money on this year, that year. But you look at the long term, 2027, 2028. Cap hit could increase between $9 to $10 million, whatever. But the Jets could have a flexibility there, But when you look at it, the Jets spend, they already committed over $250 million to Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, because you're gonna pay those men, right? You got to, again, the new regime have to look at it. So if Hall signed 3 years, $27 million deal with the Jets, a $12 million signing bonus. So 3 years, $27 million. You give him a $12 million signing bonus. So 2026 base salary is $2 million. Signing bonus prorated $4 million. Cap hit will be $6 million. Right? You gotta understand the term, the financial term. So if you don't, maybe ask me. I'll probably do a video where we talk about that. But what I'm just saying, 2027 will be $6 million. Signing bonus will be $4 million. It's $10 million cap hit. 2028, $7 million, $4 million bonus, $11 million. So the structure will give you a better breathing room. If you're the Jets, I think Muji, who's a guru when it comes to that, so he'll be able to because he's helped the Denver Broncos structuring deals before for all the players, so he know how to do all that stuff. I think that but Muji's great at that. Then you have other GMs who's also good at moving the numbers like that. So now when you look at McCaffrey, right? McCaffrey signed, from 2024 to 2027. Breece Hall extension 2026 to 2029. McCaffrey, 4 years, including 2 years extension, was a total value of $62.2 million. You know what I mean? So 15 million. I think that you gotta look at the market again. When McCaffrey signed that contract, he was the top of his profession, and Breece Hall is not that guy to be able to do that. But I think that the Jets, the Jets have, of course you have Waylon Allen, you have Isaiah Davis, so you have an opportunity to do that. But having Justin Fields out there, putting Justin Fields with in today's game with Breece Hall, yeah, he give you that dual threat. Because with Justin Fields a threat, you don't know if he's passing the ball or if he's running. So now your bookend is they're in trouble. Your DN, so they're in trouble. They don't know what they're doing. So they coming out. So it's forcing them to come out to spot to have him. But now Breece Hall's man to man. So that's a big thing for him. But we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. But with success, man, I would love to see Breece Hall finish with 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4.8 yards per carry, and reception, 50 receptions. That's a $10 million a year extension. So I would love to see that for him to continue the success, man. As a fan, I'll be super excited to see that, man. Today, man, I'm just gonna pivot a little bit from the Jets. The Miami Dolphins. I'm looking at Tua Tagovailoa out there as a running back. He was throwing the ball to everybody else but his teammates. Passing 14 out of 23 passing, 114 yards, right? One touchdown, 2 interceptions, and a fumble. Daniel Jones was running all over him. You know what I mean? Daniel Jones was running all over them. And it's at some point, you got to say to yourself, man, it's not working. You gotta step aside. Hey, shout out to LeBron James yesterday. Shout out to all the team. But LeBron James is the first basketball player in the history of the world to be wearing a Hall of Fame jacket while still being a top 10 player on the planet. You know what I mean? They give him his Hall of Fame, because they celebrate their Hall of Fame players. So LeBron James already in the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer while he's the top 10 player, and first ever. So that's an excitement, man. So all those guys, man. Anyway, Colorado bench, Caden Salter and Julius Julian Lewis. You know what I mean? Colorado this offseason, they signed Caden Salter out of the portal. They recruit 5-star QB Julian Lewis, and now the guy who's giving him success is the third string quarterback Ryan Stubb over both of them. And shout out to Stubb, man, for playing. He's putting his head down, and he's playing. He's playing what he's doing what he need to do, man. Here's the thing, right? If nepotism, people talk about nepotism, right? Nepotism, I'm seeing it only work when if it's a black player. If it's LeBron James, it's nepotism. If it's Deion Sanders, it's nepotism. If it's LeVar Ball, whatever it is, when you talk about the black fathers, when you talk about it's only nepotism, it only exists with black people, man. Now, I'm looking at Bill Belichick's son. Bill Belichick's son never coached anywhere. Got a head coach. He's able to coach. With his dad, right? Because of his dad. Now, if you're in a position, again, I don't know any father. If you're in a position to help your kid, you're gonna do whatever it is to help your kid. If you're in a job, there's an opportunity to give your kid a job, you're gonna do that. So I don't see. I see Stephen A. Smith coming out trashing LeBron James for saying, oh, nepotism for bringing his son in the NBA to give him a job. I was the greatest player in the NBA. He's entitled to that. But I don't see anybody talking. Stephen A. Smith bringing his daughter to ESPN, having a show on ESPN. So it's a hypocrisy, man. So that's what I'm saying. When LeBron James decides to retire, man, all those shows are gonna cancel. Because who's gonna watch them? So Stephen A. Smith, all those guys talking about nepotism when LeBron James got his son in the NBA, who's pretty good, by the way, right? But every day, Stephen A. Smith's daughter have a segment on ESPN on his show. But they don't talk about that. You know what I mean? You got Archie Manning, who haven't done anything. They already calling him the Iceman winner, give him whatever. What has he done? Besides his uncle and his dad, there's nothing else he needs to do, man. Anyway, man. Kevin Stefanski, he lost the locker room over Shirley Sanders because the players, the veteran players, are saying, "Wait a minute, we trying to win." The veteran players told Stefanski, "We're trying to win, and you over here playing politics instead of putting the better quarterback out there for us to win games." You know what I mean? Hey, it is what it is, man. But listen, man, I saw the game, the Dallas Cowboys game the other day with the Eagles. CeeDee Lamb, if he didn't drop those 4 passes, Cowboys would have beat the Eagles. But a lot of fans coming out after Dak Prescott, you're attacking him. Stop it, man. Here's the thing. The guy's mom died of cancer. Dak Prescott, that is. And he still come out there to play football. But his brother died of suicide. He still came out and played football. Right? He broke his leg in 2020. The guy was second in MVP voting in 2023. Third most passing yards in Cowboys history. Second most passing touchdowns in Cowboy history. 7th best completion percentage in NFL history. Like, all the hatred, and I understand, you're gonna trash a player, but sometimes you don't know what people are dealing with. To come out to do all that stuff, man. You gotta chill out. Hey, Mark Cuban said it best the other day. He said MJ is not going to lift up any bad team, which is true. Which is true. People saying that, MJ, Jordan's the greatest, Jordan, Jordan played 15 years in the NBA. Let me put this in a better context. LeBron won 900 plus games without D Wade, 800 plus games without Bosh, 900 without AD, right? 900 without Kyrie, all the stuff. He's winning without all those guys. Michael Jordan only won 150 games, 140 games without Scottie Pippen. So without Scottie, so when you look at it, and like for you guys, I understand you have a fan because you have the sneakers. The Jordan brand, the Nike brand, the Jordans are only for the hood kids. Nike market those shoes in the hood so much, like they market liquor stores in the hood. And what has he done for the hood? You know what I mean? So, a lot of you guys sitting around putting so much hate on someone who's never gotten in trouble. All he's done is to lift up his family, to make sure his family's good. And you guys you out there in your parents' basement. You know what I mean? You out there on your girlfriend's couch because you ain't paying no bills. You over here, all of a sudden, you're an expert. You never played sport in your life. Yeah, but like I said, man, Stephen A. Smith out there calling out LeBron James for nepotism. You know what I mean? But I never see once does he call he never called out Jerry Jones. Stephen A. Smith was only put on ESPN to bat. He's the same with Malika Andrew. Trash the black players. You know what I mean? Anyway, man, you got to look at it, man. But anyway, man, all I have to say as a Jets fan today, I'm super excited to see the Jets offense play the way they did, and shout out to them. They lost, but shout out to them. Before I go, let me say this right. Derrick Henry has played 9 years in the NFL, and has made 5 Pro Bowl. Right, had a multiple 2,000-yard season, and still hasn't eclipsed his total rushing yards from high school. In high school, Derrick Henry played. Let me see. He played 4 years in high school. He had 12,124 yards. 9 years in the NFL, only had 11,410. So he had more yards in high school than he did the entire thing. Anyway, man, this is all good. I'm super excited. But shout out to the Jets. Shout out to all the teams. I'm looking at the 2012 quarterback class, which is crazy. Andrew Luck retired in 2019. RG3 retired in 2020. Ryan Tannehill. Brendan Whedon. Brock Osweiler. Russell Wilson. Hall of Famer, of course. Nick Foles. Have a statue. Kirk Cousins. He should be somewhere else. Kellen Moore, Saint head coach. That was a solid. That was an okay draft class. Anyway, man, sports talk. Like, subscribe, and share, man. Peace out. I appreciate the love. I see my subscriptions growing. I appreciate. I'm not ungrateful, so I appreciate all of you guys who have subscribed to the channel. I appreciate to have 4,000 subscribers. A guy who said I'm a lot. My wife tells me that all the time. I say I'm a lot. Morocco, relax. I say I'm a lot. You know what I mean? And I stutter sometimes, but yet you still come in the channel to support me, so I appreciate it. 4,000 of you guys have, 4,014 of you guys, to be exact. It's still growing. Have subscribed to this channel, so I really appreciate it. You know what I mean? 200,000 plus. I view the channel. I appreciate it. 5,000 of you guys have liked the channel. 5,000 of you have shared the channel. 3,000 of you guys have commented on the channel. So I appreciate all the love. All I'm asking, as I'm putting those videos out, hey, start watching those videos, man, in the YouTube, man. Hey, you gotta put me in the algorithm. Anyway, man, sports talk. Like, subscribe, and share, man. Peace out.